So is any one of you implemented this solution here? Not it. Okay. Atul is saying not it. What about others? Okay. Not it. Okay. Okay, fine. So it's simple one. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Let me know if you face any problem in this. Okay, fine. So what all things we discussed in our last session. Okay. So we discussed the join and merge function basically. Okay. We have read two files as a data frame here. Okay. So Devendra, this scenario is completely related to the file. Okay. In that case, no need to read it as a data frame if there is no any heavy transformation if you want to apply.
No, there is no heavy transformation. Just we are adding a load date and using just cleansing data columns like that.
So yeah, you can read it as a file, append it, all the files that is present on that directory. You need to append it into a single file, and on that single file, you can read it as a for loop. When we read it as a for loop, we have access to each line or each column. Okay, if there is a CSV file, if you want to read a particular line using slicing, we can read that file, and you can access each line, each column using the slicing. You will have the access for that, and on that column or on that particular row, you can perform the transformation that you want to perform. This is what you can do. In that case, data frame is not required if there is no heavy transformation.
But I need to read the data as well, right? So I have to add a load date column as well in that.
Load date column into this. Yeah,
Uh,
you can.
and it will be the current day. It should be a current date.
Mm-hmm. And that we can do. That we can, even you can add it by row, you can add it, or else on the entire data set. Yeah, you can check that. It's on the data frame easily you can do that, but again you need to convert it. Using for loop, you can do this. You can add a load date column. You should be able to add. Okay.
So my question was, if using a Python and using a for loop, how I can read multiple files? Means one by one, but using a for loop. So it is there like for the files in folder, and I have to pass the folder location or like that.
So I think you need to create a list of that files. And if we have, until unless we have all the files on that location, should be able to read it. Okay, let me just check it on this, how we can do this. Okay, so rather than giving on the idea on a high level. Okay, okay, let's continue on this. Okay, check how we can do this. There should be a simple way. Okay. Okay, fine. So what all things we discussed, but it's all about the file handling it. So no need to use the pandas, I guess. We should be able to do it using the file handling only. Okay, fine. No worries. Okay, so what we discuss is perform inner join onto data frame. Okay, so what all parameters are there? How we can perform inner, left, right, outer, and cross join. If both key column contains row where the key is null, so we discuss that, right? So null, it will be matched. Okay, so if you don't want to null as a matching, you need to filter out the null wherever we have a null for the key column. Then there is a merge, a left table, right table, and by default it will perform join on the common column, the column name that is matching. Okay, then the inner join, how we perform the inner join, left table. So left, on the left table, this is what the column name on which we are performing the join. Right table, this is what the column on which using which we are performing the join. If there are multiple columns, we can give the multiple columns as well. Okay. And if there is a one more table, like let's suppose I want to join three tables, then what will be your approach? Let's suppose I have a three tables and I want to join those.
So I have to join first two tables and the data frame of that both tables I have to join with another third table.
Correct. So this is what the result of join of two data frame. As a result, we have one data frame and this data frame will join it on the third data frame. This is the approach you can. With this approach, you can perform the joins on the multiple tables in the exactly similar way what we have seen on the in the SQL. Okay, the result of first two tables will be joined with the third table. And in a similar way, you can perform this operation. Okay. Yeah, so similar way we have seen the left join filter the data based on the merge column. Okay, so we have filter the data. If we want the data from the left table only, right table only, we can filter it out. Right join is there, full join we have seen the examples. Okay, so any position, what was that? What was the NA position?
The null values will come in the first rows.
Yeah, null value will come as like null values will be as a first values. Okay. In place is true. Okay, what else is there? Cross join suffixes we have seen. Okay, if there is the same column name apart from the key column, and if you want to give any different column name as a suffix, you can give it for the left and right table. This was the example. Okay, then we have seen the example of join function. Okay, it is useful to join two data frame based on the index value. Okay, so on the index, if you want to join, the join function is more relevant, we can say. Okay, fine. I think this is what we have discussed. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me just open a new file. Okay, so have you heard about the NumPy? Is the NumPy? Have you heard about it? Any one of you?
So it
Yes.
is a Python library used to perform mainly numerical operations.
Okay. What else? It's a Python library to perform the numerical operations. That is correct. What else is there? Okay, so as like pandas, it's an open source library of a Python. Okay, so we can say it as pandas. It is open source library of Python. Okay, this is majorly used to perform the numerical operations. So NumPy stands for a numerical Python only. Okay, we can say it as to perform the numerical operations. It will be it's a powerful utility or a library will be useful to perform operations, to perform mathematical operations. Okay, so this is the NumPy is so same operations we can do with the a list. Okay, so there are some it is having some concepts called a array. Okay, we'll have we can perform on the arrays. When we say array, we can see it as T multi-dimension arrays. So have you heard about arrays? Is anyone aware with the arrays? When we say array means what?
Yes, sir. It is used to store data items with same data type,
Correct.
and we can access it using indexing.
Correct. So the first point is as compared to list, array operations seems are much more faster and it consumes less memory. So we can say it as, and also it is memory efficient. Okay, so this is what the NumPy, we can say it's a numerical Python. So it will be, so there is concepts called a multi-dimensional array. Okay, when I say multi-dimensional array, means 1D array, 2D array, 3D array, 4D array. Likewise, we can create dimensions, array dimensions, and we can perform the operations on that. Okay, so let's see some example of it. And it's what we can say a pandas like library, and it's open source. Okay, so therefore we need to import that NumPy. If you want to give the alias, you can give it. So this is what the P is. And if I have to create an array, how we can do this? We can create it using, let's suppose, array, let's suppose 1D is equal to, and I'll be saying that np dot array is there. Okay, so and here I can give the objects that I have to create. Let's print this array, print the type of array 1D. Let's execute this. Okay, you can see it here, class numpy dot nd array, and this is what the array we have. Each element is separated by the space. Here you will not be able to see the comma. Each element is separated by the space here, correct? So similarly, if I have to create a list is equal to, if I create a list with this, print the list. So you can see it here. This is what the list is. This is what the array is. And if I add something like this, will it work? What do you think? Yes or no? So list can contain the character information as well. Okay. So it's not like only it will contain the numerical information, it will contain the character information as well. And we have seen that this list can also can have this character information as well. Okay. So the difference here is it's majorly used for if you want to perform some numerical operations, it will be used, list will be used. Okay. So if I have one more list here, okay. So let's just suppose if I have this list, you tell me if I do some operation on the list that I have 999, it's a LST2. Okay. So if I say list 3 is equal to list 1 plus list 2, what will happen?
It will concatenate the list, these three.
It will concatenate, right? Summation of index, Atul, what you mean when you say summation of index means?
Sir, in general, in terms of list, if we add two lists,
Hmm.
it concatenates like all the elements from first list and second list are combined together in the third one. Uh,
Yeah.
I just assumed because we are in NumPy, maybe it's an assumption, so nothing. It's
Okay, okay. No,
the
no.
zeroth index of both the lists will be added.
Correct. So, no, it's a list that we have seen till now. It's nothing related to the number. So this part is, it's clearly we are talking about the list. And we have seen the operation, this operation on the list when we say, like, if I have anything, any number, 111, and if I do the plus operation, it's simply concatenating the two strings, correct?
Yes, it will combine both the lists.
LST3, list 3, and LST3. If I print it, if I execute it, so you can see what it is doing. It's a concatenate.
Yes.
But on the NumPy, it's kind of a mathematical operations it will perform on that particular array. Okay, so if I have this array, this is one, right? It's a 1D array. And if I have another array, okay, and 1D2, let's have some different values. One D third array is equal to this one plus the second one, right? With this I paste it. So, and let's print this array. So what is happening here? Able to guess it? What is happening here?
Here it is doing the summation of indexes, sir.
So doing the summation of indexes, like if we have the same number of values, it's doing the summation of indexes, correct? Understood? Means in short, we can say it like sometimes if you want to avoid this for loops and all, okay. So if I have to do this, the addition, what we need to do, we need to read it into for loop and we need to append this, we need to do the we need to create a new list. With some append, we need to read the one by one element of each list, and we need to do the summation and append it to the new list, correct? So let's suppose if we don't have an array, same thing I have to perform, then what is the option we have? Are you getting what I'm trying to say here? Let's suppose we don't have a NumPy. How you will perform this operation? So it's doing the summation of this two. So if I have to do the summation of this summation of index value, how will do? Using lambda function we can do. Means lambda again, it's kind of reading the one by, it's kind of a for loop it's doing, right? For each value, it will iterate it and will do it. So this is kind of a convenient operation we can perform. Okay, to avoid the for loop, we can go with this, what we can say, the array concept, which is there in the NumPy. Okay, similarly, okay, this one is there. And if I do the multiplication, what will happen here? In case of list, if we do the multiplication, ls2 into maybe 3. Is it possible? Is it possible or not? Are you able to recall something? Yes, no? This is what the value we have in the list. If I do list into 3, what will happen? Is it possible? If yes, then what it will return? Not able to recall. I think already we performed this operation.
Sir, if you do a multiplication of 3, it will do 3 times. Means like in Python, you had told now that if you do multiplication of 3, anything into 3, then it will make it 3 times or something like that.
But what will be the result then?
The list will be printed 3 times, sir. All the items.
The whole list will be repeated thrice, 3 times. Like 12, 34, 67, 78. Then again 12, 34, 67, 78. Again 12, 34. In a
Yes.
single, in a single.
Yeah, in a single list. Is correct. If you see it here, list 4, right? Okay, so what it is doing, 34, this 12, 34 again, you can see it, right? Okay, where is the 12? Yeah, it's, you can see it here, right? Okay, in the list 3, I think we are doing it into the list. What is that list? We can see it here. This is what it is printing 3 times, correct? 1, 2, and 3, correct? Yes or no? This is
Yes,
what
sir.
we have in the list. So it's printing it 1, 2, and 3 times if we do the multiplication. Okay, but here in this case, if we do the multiplication, what will happen? What do you think? What do you think? What will happen? The element, each element will be multiplied by 3, correct? So if you see it here, 1 into 3, 4 into 3, 6 into 3, again 2 into 3, 3 into 3, 4 into 3, likewise. So on each element, it will perform this multiplication operation. Okay. Got the difference?
Yes, sir.
For the array, it will do the operation. So even it's a similar to what if you say -2 on each element, it will perform the minus operation. Okay, it will each element, it will perform the minus operation. If I do this, you'll be able to see it. This is what our first array, 1 minus 2, 4 minus 2, 6 minus 2, likewise, it's doing the operation on each element. Okay. This is what the operation on 1D array. This is what the 1D array. How we can see whether it's a 1D, 2D. So we have print this dot and dimension. Okay, if you print this, it will print whether it's a 1D array, 2D array and all. Okay, so just paste it here to the comma. So you can see it here. What it is returning? It's returning 1. It's a 1D array, correct? One dimension array. So you will get all this information here. So if you, as like a pandas, we have a NumPy website. You can visit this. Okay, we'll just share it with you on the meeting chat. As like a pandas, we have, this is what the official website for the NumPy. Okay. And here you can do the coding as well. Okay, you can do this. Here you can write a code if you want. Okay, they have given this thing as well. One of you can please mute if you're not talking. You can do the NumPy coding here as well. Okay, I've given this option. If I go to the documentation, getting started. Okay, you can refer this. What is the NumPy? How we can install it? The basic things they have mentioned here. If you want, you can read it out. We can start it and fundamentals and all. You can start reading on this. What is the data type? Broadcasting is there. Is something called broadcasting. Okay, so if you go to the NumPy API references, so this is what the array object. This is what the functions. If you remember, there were a function for the series and data frame. You remember that? So these are all the functions you can see, which is related to the NumPy. And most of the functions I think we are aware with. Shape and dimension that we have, just use this n dimension. Size is there, data is there, item size, it's the bytes. Okay, data type, it will return the data type of it. So it will return the items of it. It will convert into a list. Okay. Reshape. If you want to reshape the array, there is reshape. Resize is there. Okay. Then choose, repeat, sort. We can sort it. Non-zero, maximum, minimum, mean. Okay. Sum. If you want to do the sum of it, minimum of it. So these functions we have, you can go through these functions. You got it right. It is related to the array. Understood, right? From where you can take the reference of it. Let me share this with you. Just refer this website. It's not pandas का थोड़ा डिटेल में है और numpy का इतना डिटेल में मतलब इतना यूजर फ्रेंडली नहीं लग रहा मुझे, but yeah, still it will give the enough information. This is what the example of 2D array, two-dimensional array with size 2 columns, 3 rows. Sorry, 2 rows, 3 columns. Okay. The data type is what integer. If I print what shape, then what it will print and all. Okay. The internal memory layout, I don't think so. This is what this is the required internal memory. Don't have to do anything on this. Memory layout के related कितने functions है that you can see, items size and dimension, shape, flag. This is what you need to explore. Okay, understood, right? Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's create a two-dimensional array. तो numpy की इतनी पेशेंस नहीं रहता है इंटरव्यू में, बट स्टिल यू शुड बी अवेयर कि क्या है दिस numpy, what is the array. Okay, this thing you should be aware. Our table-like structure is the 2D array, correct? Store the information in terms of rows and columns. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
3, 4. Then again, I have, okay, it's a data type it's asking. So just add one more bracket here, add one more bracket here, opening bracket, and then give one more array here that will have the same number of elements. That is 4, 6, 7. Again, I'll have one more 9, 7, 9, 4. To the array. And if I print this, execute it. So you can see it here. What it is doing, it's printing the 2D like a table-like structure. Table-like structure means it's a 2D structure, two-dimensional array, rows and columns. Okay, so if we see this on this operation, on this, see, if I do this is equal to 2D 1, or say, yeah, 1 is equal to, if I do this plus 5, so on each element it will add the 5, right? Correct, as we discussed earlier, it will do, copy it, paste it here. So you can see it here, it's adding 5 in each element, correct? Yes or no? Means it's not for the 1D array, it's for all the array type, 1, 2D, 3D, whatever it is. You're getting right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's a basic operation. See it here, okay? And each element is separated by the space by default. So, and if I see this, this is the array, right? Copy this, print. When I do the shape, what will happen? What do you think? We print what? Do you remember what it was doing for the data frame?
Rows and columns. Number of rows and columns.
Number of rows and columns. The same thing it is in here. You can see the number of rows. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and columns 1, 2, 3, 4. Rows and columns it will give you the rows and columns. Okay. Apart from this, what all things are there? Copy, paste. If I say dot size should give the number of elements, right? So what all total number of elements are there? Correct? 5 into 4, it's a 20. Correct? So data type of it. So if you want to see the data type, what was the function?
D type.
D type. Correct. So D type is there. If I say D type, same function is there. Execute it. should be integer 64. Okay, and again we have in the NumPy, it's you will be able to see integer 32, integer 16 bit. It's a bit. If you remember, it's a 16, 32, 64, 128. It's a bit. Okay, it will increase the size of the entire, not size in terms of memory, it will increase if you reduce this one or if you increase this one. Okay, so by default, this is what the data type of it. If you want to change the data type of it, how you can change it? If I want to change the data type of it, what was the function? Dot as type was there, right? As type. And if I say float 64, I need to give it in the single quote. Okay, and again, if I print the d type after changing the data type of it, so you can see it here. Okay, so it's not changing the data type because we need to assign it, but when we do this, it's having this decimal points, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
You need to do something like this. 2d is equal to like this, then you should be able to see the float. See? Okay. So as type is, these are the functions that we have seen. Okay, then, so if I want to access the particular element, what do you think? What we need to do? So in terms of list, if I have this as a list, you copy this. LST. If I have to access this element, how we can access it? The
Using
second
index 1.
index 1.
Yes, sir. First is 0, second 4, 5 is 1.
So what I have to write here?
Yes, sir. Square bracket 1.
Square bracket 1. Okay, sorry. Square bracket 1, correct. So if I write square bracket 1, so it will access what? It will access this particular element. It's on the index 1, index 2, right? So in this, again, I have to access this particular element, that is 6. How we can access it in the list?
After that, we have to use a bracket and 2 after 1.
In this, again, we have one more, that is 2. So if I print 2, what it will do? It will go to that 6. It should print what? It should print that 6. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So this is what we can do, the slicing, we can say, in terms of list. The same thing we can do it using the array. How we can do this? Let's see. Okay, so let me print this first. Okay, so what we have is we have option to print. Let's suppose if I have to access the second row, how we can do this? So here we have the number of rows and columns. Okay, so if I pass a second, let's see what happens. So what it is doing? It's going first 0, first and second row,
Index.
correct?
Right. So 3 rows.
So third row it is returning to me, correct? So again, from the third row, I want a third element.
Again 2. Pass the 2.
Again, 2. So here, the difference here is just need to pass this 2. Okay, so if I pass 2, it will go to that element. This is what the row and this is what the column, correct? And we can do the slicing as well. So if I say 0 to 2 and 1 to 3, what it will print? Can you guess? This is what our array is. If I pass 0 to 0 colon 2, 1 colon 3, slicing already we discussed. So what it will print?
It will print first three lines and again in that first starting from first and second row. So 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 5.
2 comma 3,
Sorry, 2, 3 and 5, 6 only.
6. And what?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Let's see. Correct? Yes or no?